Good morning. Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia, and today I am going to be showing you a first look at three new products. The first is taking a quick look at our basic white cardstock products, which are replacing the Whisper White cardstock. Hello, Roseanne. Thanks for joining me. Um, as you may have heard by now, the paper mill that produced the Whisper White cardstock shut down, casualty to the COVID-19. So Stampin' Up! Has done some research and replaced it with um, basic white. So I've got some samples of that to show you and compare to Whisper White. I'm also going to be showing you the bundle Tranquil Thoughts out of the January to June mini catalog. And I'm also going to be showing you my brand new Stampin' Cut and Emboss, the mini version. I call it the Baby Boss. Hi, Nikki. Thanks for joining us today. So let's get started. Uh, Cardstock, white cardstock, the most basic thing that we use to stamp on, along with the very vanilla, but the white is the go-to 99% of the time. And I'm presuming your audio is fine. I'm getting an echo, but it's because I'm broadcasting and watching at the same time, I think. Hello, Gladys. Hello, Paula. Thanks for joining me. So here on the left is the new basic white cardstock, and on the right is the Whisper White. And I've gone ahead, you probably can't see it, but up in the corners I've marked so I know. But I can tell a difference. I don't know if you can. I think my lighting is pretty equal on both sides. Um, the Whisper White has just a tinge more yellow than the basic white. And it's only putting them side by side that you would notice this. So when you are using stuff, I would say if you are layering white on white directly, be sure you're using the same product. Although again, I might, because I'm looking for it, I might see it more than the average person would. Um, but you know, as you're using stuff up, if they're not right next to each other, I just wouldn't lose much sleep over it. Um, in terms of feel, so I've got the thick of both and the regular weight of both and the envelopes for both. Now I will say the envelopes are still that yummy, yummy, very smooth feel for both of them, which is excellent. The cardstocks, the basic white is, especially the regular one, is still very, very smooth, the way our Whisper White is. Um, I'd say the basic white is a hair thinner than the Whisper White, and but it's just as smooth. But it is a hair. I do think it's a hair lighter. And then on the thick, yeah, the thick is noticeably less smooth than the Whisper White, but I don't know that that is an issue at all with anything. But we'll find out as we do some stamping, won't we? So, the stamping I'm going to do today is, yes, the basic white is brighter than the Whisper White, just a smidge. And like I said, you can really only tell when you put it next to each other. When you're just looking at it in and of itself, it's not a big difference. Um, but today, I think this is going to be one of those sleeper bundles that once everyone gets over the really big sweets, they're going to all of a sudden discover this one. I've been wrong before, but I really like this one. It's called Tranquil Thoughts, and it's got some pretty images with dies that cut them out, some nice sentiments, and some other dies that cut out some neat background or even foreground shapes and textures. So I'm going to do some playing with this today as we try out our new cardstock. We're going to do some comparison on the cardstock. So I thought the easiest way to do this would just be to go ahead and recreate. For starters, I'm going to recreate this card from the catalog. I often find that an easy way to get into a new stamp set. And Stampin' Up! Has the recipes for their catalog samples. If you are a demonstrator, you know how to get these under the catalog resources. If you are not a demonstrator and would like to have them, get in touch with your demonstrator. Hopefully that's me here in Australia. And we will be happy to supply those to you. So let's just ink this up and do a few stamps and do some comparison. So what would that fit on? There we go. So this is Calypso Coral. I'm going to stamp once. Now that's probably because it's a brand new stamp, not because of the paper. Let's see. Oh, am I doing it on the thick or the regular? Haha, I'm doing it on the thick. Okay. Let's do that on the regular cardstock, right? Or was that? Now I'm confused. I've confused myself. That's regular. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, and I'm going to stamp this one again because I really think that you probably can't even see how it's not quite perfect, but I think that's because it was a brand new stamp that hadn't been inked before. Let's see. Hi, Miyako. Glad you could join us. Okay, I can't tell which one it is. So I'm going to stamp on here. I think maybe I had it wrong. I think this is the regular basic white, and that stamps much more nicely. Good. Okay. We'll change up the colors here. This is Flirty Flamingo. Yep, beautiful. I think this pad needs a little more ink. We just used it a lot in my class over the weekend and yesterday. Yep, it needs a little more ink. And clean this off. And Magenta Madness. I had to guess. I'd say this one is probably pretty juicy, but we'll see how we go. Beautiful. Yeah, I think I was working on the thick over there, and it is definitely a slightly rougher texture. I would try to reserve that for bases with layers over it. Okay, so there's that stamp. And let's see what else we need here for this card. That big one. And then these two. And I'm going to stamp these together because I need both of them, and why not? I need them in the same colors. And I think I'm going to keep going just on the basic white because I think we've done our comparison. And I don't think we need to keep going on the Whisper White. Um, This again is the Calypso Coral. And now the Magenta Madness. Okay. Beauty. And I'm going to do, so I'm cutting out now. And first thing I'm going to do is cut this down a bit so it gets through my machine. Let's see where my track is. There we go. Cuts nicely. That's good to know, right? And this is my baby boss. You can see here's my hand. It's pretty small. And it opens up the way you would expect the big one to. The first thing that I noticed about it, besides the size compared to the other one, is the handle on the full-size one. This is metal and it's plastic on this one, and it came already assembled. I don't know if I can probably pull this soft stopper out and tighten it up if I need to. I found that I need to pretty regularly on my big one. I need to tighten it up, but that's fine. And the platforms are similar, but a little bit different to the big one when it comes to embossing, which we're not going to do today. And then here are it uses two of the clear plates. And I will pull in my dies and we'll give this a go. It is very cute. It is very portable. I still would tell anybody who was buying their first die cutting and embossing machine, to buy the full-size one. Because there are things that you will not be able to run through here. Any regular size embossing folder, um, there are dies that won't fit through. Like even on this set, this die will not fit through. All the rest will, but this one won't. And what a shame if you got something and you couldn't use it because it doesn't fit through your machine. So there's our little die cuts. It works beautifully, just like the big one. Let me just drop the die. Of course, it's a little die that gets camouflaged on my carpet. So this is going to take me a moment to locate. Sorry. But I can't keep going with this card because I need it to cut things out. Found it. Yay. Sorry about that. It bounced. Okay. So now we'll keep going. This is the downside of this card, is that there's lots of elements to cut out, but hopefully it won't take me too long. Use a Post-it note to hold them in place. So are you all going to watch the inauguration tomorrow? I don't know. It's at 4 a.m. here. I'm thinking that might be one to, I may have to watch highlights when I wake up. I've been waking up early in the morning anyway, so we'll just see. You're having mimosas. Good for you. I could do that too. I have a bottle of Prosecco. And I have orange juice, which is rare, but not good for me, so probably won't. Let's see if I can get that. Sticking it down. Nope. It's the little dies, and doing them two at a time, they're just too likely to move. Oh my goodness. Where's my Butterfingers today? I don't know which. Yeah, I'm having no trouble getting stuff here. If the local Australian broadcasters don't cover it, I know I can watch it online. I'm not at all worried about access. It's just the hour. So, yeah, I didn't get up for royal weddings. So, we'll see. I'm certainly not setting an alarm. If I happen to be awake, I may get up and watch. But... Oh, come on, Nikki. Isn't it, 9 a.m. your time? You can get up to that, right? Here's this one. Let's just go ahead and get these done. I suppose there's stuff that starts earlier than 9 a.m. That's the actual swearing in. Is it noon Eastern time? Okay. I had a really nice class over the weekend. I had 5 people here on Saturday and 1 here yesterday. We made some fun cards. And it is nice to have people able to be in the apartment to do it. We got to do fun things like play with some of the gilded leafing, a couple different embossing powders, lots of different sets. So I think people had fun. Didn't cut very well. I'm going fast and not lining up very well. So let's try that again. That really didn't line up well. Go. Here. There we go. That was better. So is the Australian, yeah, no, the wreath cards are coming up. Um, Roseanne, I this was my monthly medley class, so this is a whole variety of cards and stamp sets. Yep. Is the Australian Open tennis tournament making news over there in the States? They had this whole elaborate plan for bringing people in on chartered flights and quarantining them for 2 weeks. And most people feel that they were warned that if somebody tested positive on their incoming flight, they were going to have to be totally quarantined. The idea was that the players, that people would have 5 hours of closely guarded, escorted, private training time each day, and so they stay while they're in their 2-week quarantine before the tournament. And those people who came in on flights where somebody tested positive for COVID, once they arrived, don't get to do that. They have to stay in isolation, complete isolation for the 2 weeks, and they are not happy. But some of them knew that was going to be the deal, and some of them claimed they didn't know, and they wouldn't have come had they known that was the deal. But consensus seems to be too bad, so sad. And if you didn't know, it's perhaps because your entourage didn't inform you not because Victoria didn't tell you. So, whoops. Yeah, I may have seen some of that New York Times coverage. I think my local paper picked up some of it. But I will look at what you sent. Because again, here in Victoria, we don't care. I love our premiere. He said in response to the press asking him, so such and so player sent you a list of demands, is sending a list of demands for changes they want to the policy. And he just says, that's their right. They can send a list of any demands they want. The answer is going to be no. This is the plan and we're sticking to it. He doesn't care what they ask for. I love it. Because guess what? We did our hard lockdown. We have no community. We had one little outbreak that got to us from Sydney, and within a week we had tracked it all down, quarantined everybody, and we're back to no community acquired cases again for weeks on end. So we are not going to play around with these tennis players. And then the other big thing that happens early in the year is we've got a big Grand Prix auto race. And they've already postponed that to November because they didn't feel they could do that in a COVID safe way. So there we go. Now all the die cutting's done. Get rid of that. Okay. So now I need a card base. This is the basic white thick that I accidentally stamped on to start with, but we're going to make good use of at least some of it here. That gives me my base. And then this is the rest of that sheet of regular basic white I had. And I'm going to cut another layer. I don't have the same lattice that they used on theirs. They used laser cut paper out of the Dandy Garden suite, but I didn't buy that, at least as of yet. So I'm going to try a different piece. It's my own folder, with a nice crisp crease there. It helps hold it flat while I'm working with it. So this is basic white on basic white for a layer. And trying to decide. So this is a piece of the Forever Gold laser cut specialty paper. Trying to decide about that. Because the example card, yeah, like I said, uses the Dandy laser cut paper, which I don't have. Just looking at something else I do have. These are old, and I know they'd be really good with the. I may use one of these. This is one of the retired. What do we call it? Oh, that says tear and tape. Chicken wire elements. And I've held on to them, and I'm feeling really pretty gleeful about it because we have those Hey Chick and Hey Birthday Chick back. There we go. So this is the basic white that I'm using to make this card. I did at the very beginning do a quick um, rundown, and for stamping, I think they are equivalent. They, um, yeah, you can see the top row is on the Whisper White, and the bottom row is on the basic white, and then I cut it out. Um, I think it's great. I think the thick has a slightly rougher texture, which doesn't stamp quite as nicely. But the basic white, the regular basic white, is smooth enough that it stamps really nicely. The Whisper White is got slightly more yellow to it than the basic white, but again, when you're stamping on it, as long as you're not like layering them right on top of each other, and even then, it they're basically equivalent. I would not have any problem. I like that for this card. So I'm going to use this one, and um, to stick it on, I'm going to use this trick. I have to find my sponge here. Excuse my reach over the camera there. And I'm going to, this trick I think I've probably shown you before, but if not, because it's be a pain to put little dots of glue everywhere there. So I'm going to put a pool of glue here, and a little bit of a Stampin' Sponge, and then I'm going to get this. I don't even think I need that extra layer with this. So, because we're not doing any ribbon, right? Right. So, before this dries out, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pounce this. And I'm working fast, and I'm working to keep the lattice piece from moving because I don't want it to pick up glue on the back side. And I have a sponge that I just keep dedicated for this. At the end, I'll go rinse it out. It's still a little sticky, but that's okay. This silicone mat will just, the glue will just rub right off. And that's an awesome thing. And now I'm going to pick that up and place it on my card. As straight and even as I can. There we go. Yay. Done. And then just set that aside to clean it off later. If you decide it's a little bit stickier than you want it to be, if you have an embossing buddy, which I think everybody should have, you can take it and just sort of rub it over there, and it will neutralize any stickiness. I'm be careful not to do too much of that because it could keep the other stuff from sticking. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so bring in my example picture again from the catalog. You can see basically what they did was on a diagonal made an ombre pattern of these. And it looks like maybe it was dimensional on. Let me just do a quick layout of things. Get a sense of it here. Because I'm betting they used letter size paper. Well, maybe not. We'll see. I always like to lay things out so I have a good sense of how things should be. It's probably under there somewhere, it won't matter. Okay. And then the one other thing that I haven't stamped yet or cut out is the sentiment. Where'd my stamp set go? There we go. I use this thank you. Cody Flamingo. And I don't think I have the die that they used, but I'm just going to use this one. This is the Label Me Fancy punch. And I think it's nicely sized for this. So I'll do that. And that's going to go on there. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to start layering up here. I'm going to take one more look at their sample directions. Yeah. And still debating how I'm going to stick these down. I think these I'm just going to glue, and I will save the dimensionals for the sentiment only. So I'm casing the catalog today. This is a sample from the product page 36 in the January to June mini catalog. I often like to do that, like I said, when I'm first playing with a new bundle. It gives me good sense of how it feels and works. And I can get creative from there. I did make a few adjustments because I don't have, um, like I said, the Dandy laser cut specialty paper, but that may have to go on my list. I'm using this retired chicken wire embellishment from a couple years ago, um, which I think substitutes nicely, but I don't have a lot of them, and I do want to be able to use them with Hey Chick and Hey Birthday Chick. And I'll give you a little preview. I probably am going to play with those next week on the live because I love them and I love the dies that they brought out to go with them. Now we'll put that on with some dimensionals. Here. Oh my goodness. And there it is. Bring it up there for you to see a little more. Come here. And what do you think? You want to stick around for me to make another one, or we're 40 minutes in? I think maybe we're going to call it quits there. Um, yeah. So you got a sense of this stamp set and then my baby boss and the basic white, and I will be doing more stuff going forward. I will let you know I have a lot of Whisper White that I'm going to be using up before I go back into the basic white, but you won't know the difference, and I'll just keep referring to everything as white. So I would not hesitate at all about using the basic white from here on out. I would, I probably wouldn't hesitate even to use them on top of each other if need be. They're really close. If I could keep it that I wasn't going directly one on top of the other, I would do that, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it either. So that's my sense on the basic white. And you got to see the mini Stampin' Emboss cutting machine. Just for fun, I'll bring over my big one. You can try to see the difference here. Yeah, I mean, it's huge compared to this one. There we go. Put it that way. Put this one this way. This one's teeny tiny. So that's what I have for today, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.